So, I have finally arrived at the great worry that young people run into. The great worry of what should I do with my life. Because uh, I've finally gotten over a psychological problem that I've been dealing with for the last 7 to 8 years. And the reason that I know that that's over with is because now I feel worried about everything else. Everything else I was kind of putting on hold because of the psychological problem that I had that I don't really want to talk about the details of yet. I might do a later podcast where I talk about the details, or you know what? I might do like an actual video, like a really long, because it's a fucking big issue that I was having. But yeah, I'll do that later at some point, probably. But anyways, I'm finally running into other problems now. And that's kind of how you know that it's over. That's kind of how you know that the issue that you had was over. Now I'm seeing other problems and they look so much bigger and so much more scary than what was the problem beforehand. The world looks so much more scary. Because I have a minimum wage job. And I kind of wasted 8 years of my life doing nothing. And that's, I don't know. Before I ran into this psychological problem, of which I don't want to give the details about, before I ran into it, I was kind of in college. I was in community college, but I was on my way to becoming an engineer. That was the direction that I chose. I kind of chose it arbitrarily because engineer sounds cool, but I was on my way in that direction when I decided, when I was in college. And I was, that was the plan. But then I run into this problem where I think it's a really big problem, and it is, to be honest. But yeah, now that it's gone, I feel like I've wasted 8 years of my life because I figured out, I'm not going to get any really specific about it, but I figured out it was just one thing that I had to think in order to fix the problem. Like I just had to do one thing and I didn't. I just had to think one thing and that was the solution to everything. And now it's solved. And now I feel like the emptiness of having wasted that much time on such a simple problem. But anyways, so now I'm thinking, I need to get my life together. I need to get a job that makes more money than minimum wage. I need to figure out like what my talent is. I need to figure out all this crazy stuff that I should have been figuring out for these 8 years. I mean, usually if you're a good kid or if you're a good person, you spend the 8 years from your 20s to the years from your 20s to your 30s figuring out pretty much what you are going to do with your life and where you're going to go. But now I have to do it in like 2 years because I'm going to be 28 this year. And, well, I mean, like, I don't have to. It's not like, I mean, there is a time limit to your life, though, so I do sort of have to. But it's like, I'm going to feel behind on everybody else. Everybody else has kind of been figuring out, like, oh, my younger brothers, who are in the first generation of my family. There's actually 2 generations of my family. There's 5 kids who are like 10 years younger than all of us. And then there's 3 brothers, me, my brother, and my brother, right? I'm the oldest brother. And I see them, my younger brothers, and they've been figuring this out in these years. They've been figuring out what they want to do, and they've been thinking about it. And I haven't, because I've been dealing with a stupid psychological problem that is now fixed, that it was really, really ridiculously easy to fix, and I should have figured out how to fix it beforehand. I should have figured out how to fix it sooner, because I would have been much more happy if I had time. I had so much time to do so much stuff, and I did do a few things, like I did read a lot of study things, and, I don't know, learn things, but I didn't really pursue anything, the pursuit of things. That's something that, like, I always started pursuing things but never finished them, and I don't know. I didn't pursue things, and I feel bad about it now, and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm thinking maybe I should go to college, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to go to college because I see people of my generation, of the generation of millennials, going to college, getting a degree, and then working at a minimum wage job anyways because their degree is useless. So I'm wondering if I should just skip the college and just start learning programming because programming seems to be the direction that you can always go. And I have experienced programming, so I could probably do that. Could probably learn some JavaScript, start writing some phone apps or something like that, start making some money. Or maybe I could go in the direction of real estate. Real estate investment does make you money. It just takes a long time, and you have to really be careful, because you don't want to buy a shit house. You don't want to buy a house that makes you nothing, and then you have to pay the you have to pay the rent on the loan that you took out for it. Don't want to do that. But anyways, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I'm considering things for the first time in like 8 years. Maybe I should I don't know. I don't know what I should do at this point. I guess it's a good thing that I have been saving money and I haven't been spending it on anything. I guess you couldn't call me a burnout, because a burnout would be someone who spends all their money on useless things, and I haven't been doing that. I've just been saving it, but I actually don't know what a burnout is. I'm just using like the very minimum amount of times that I've heard people use that word to define what burnout is. I don't know what a burnout really is, but I assume that it's someone who spends a lot of money and doesn't save any money, and then ends up with nothing and nowhere to go, and possibly lives in their parents' house and mooches off of their parents, which is not something I'm really doing. I'm living with my parents, but I'm paying rent. I'm helping them out with their rent, their house or whatever. But anyways, this is the way that I feel. I feel very uncertain, and I don't know which direction I'm going to go in. I've always said that. I've said that on this podcast, but I actually feel legitimate fear right now. So I guess that's more notable. I feel legitimate fear of the future. And I guess beforehand when I was doing this, I was waiting for my parents, because my parents are basically trying to decide whether or not they want to move into a much cheaper place to live, because my dad has an online job, meaning he gets all of his work online, meaning we could live anywhere pretty much, and he could still get paid the same amount. So we were thinking of moving to a lower, just buying a house in a really cheap place, and then being able to save up money and invest in stuff from that place. And but they still haven't bought a house, and they still haven't figured it out. They're still trying to figure it out, and I can't wait for that. My plan was to wait for them to figure that out, and then once that had been figured out, they said that since I was going to actually help them, I was going to pay all the down payment on the house that they were going to buy, and maybe help them with extra fees or whatever, because I've saved up money. But I guess I'm no longer comfortable with waiting for them, and that's a good thing, right? I'm no longer comfortable with waiting. I need to figure out my life now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out my life, figure out which direction I'm going to go in. Man, I don't even know. Should I go in the direction of art? Should I try to... Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I think I need to be a little bit more secure as far as making money is concerned. Because honestly, if I ever want to get married, I'm not going to be able to support kids and a wife and whatever, I'm not going to be able to support a family, even if my wife is working or whatever. I don't know the way that work works now. I don't know what way family structure is now. I don't care. But anyways, I'm not going to be able to support a family with minimum wage. So I should probably at least get to the point where I can make a decent amount of money. And I don't think that it's impossible to do that. I just want to be careful about the direction that I choose. I'm really thinking about, and I think it's going to be programming. My mind is focused on that, because I do have experience programming, and I can learn it pretty fast, and I have the type of mind that programming is pretty easy for me. It's easy to figure out stuff with programming, so yeah, I'm probably going to do that. Probably going to learn more JavaScript. I've already learned a lot of JavaScript from previous programming stuff that I did. But my younger brother, who actually did go into programming, is making a lot of money now from going into programming and actually focusing on it and staying on task with it. He told me that JavaScript was the main language that people are using, which is surprising, because JavaScript, as far as I remember from my memories of using JavaScript, it's just something you do to add a little thing to the website to make it a little more fancy, add a little fading banner, or add a little text that flashes up and down or something like that. It wasn't something that you seriously used to program stuff, but nowadays I guess that's the program that people use for all phone apps ever. So I guess I'm going to learn that, maybe, hopefully. But look, we have finally reached the 10-minute mark. Have I said all I'm going to say? Well, yeah, I've repeated myself over and over again at this point. Like, the only thing I've said in this is that I want to get my life together, which is good. So I guess I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully, I will be in a better emotional state, because right now I feel awful and fearful and scared. Anyways, see ya.